Hi guys, my name is Sonali and welcome back to my channel, The Happiness Company. In the previous episode, we had spoken about how we can set achievable, attainable goals, how we can start small, take baby steps towards achieving, small little goals that we set for ourselves. I think it's very important that we don't overthink about anything before we're just getting started. And that's what we discussed in the previous video. We'd also spoken about how Miss Gretchen Rubin had dedicated an entire year to her happiness project and how we are going to make our own happiness project in the series of these videos. I'm going to help you decide what makes you happy. I'm going to make sure that I take up a project that makes me happy. And together we're going to make sure that this happiness company is spread to everybody. Let's get started. So in the last episode, I told you the step number 1 towards being more happier is to make sure that you're making good resolutions. Well, not the ones that we make every new year, of course not, but the ones that make you achieve your goals faster. So set attainable goals and make sure that you are taking baby steps to make sure that you are achieving your goals. So what is the step number 2? Well, this is something you might not have heard before. The step number 2 is to release your vital energies. It's to make sure that you are being more active and also to get rid of all of that energy guzzlers, the negative things around you. Haven't you heard people talk about time management? I mean, there's so many articles and books and there's so many people that talk about time management every day to me. And the only complaint they have is that they're not able to manage their time, or some of them are actually good also, honestly. But I think the one thing that I've not heard people talk about very commonly is the fact that how you manage your energies. This is not a very common concept, honestly. And I think if you're able to, manage your energies in a perfect way, I think it'll be much better than trying to control your time all the time. So I'm going to help you decide a few things. So where do we begin? Well, what I personally do is that I make sure that I mark important things on my calendar, on the daily calendar. I make a note of all the important things, I prioritize better. Well, I think everything else could also be important. But then, if you make a list of the top 10 things that you have to do and then check out the top 3 things that you need to complete that particular day, I think you will be able to channelize your energy on those tasks much better. I personally feel that most of the times when we do have free time, we're not able to use it, right? I mean, we're either tired or we're occupied with some other thoughts. And I think that's one of the most important energy guzzler for me. And the minute I started focusing on the most important things, the minute I started listing down the priority of, the day, that's when I started being more productive. That's when my energies were more centered towards the tasks that made me more productive. And this concept of more energy, I have borrowed from the Happiness Project. Even the author agrees to the fact that, if you have more energy, if you're able to generate more energy, that's when you will be able to actually achieve these tasks that you're setting for yourself. Even for her, this was the priority of the Happiness Project. Now, let me ask you a question. What do you think really generates these, the energy that I'm talking about? For me, and I think for, the rest of you as well, it should be 1, enough sleep, 2, a balanced diet. And I think 3rd would also be an outdoor activity because that keeps you more active. It makes sure that your metabolism is right. And if you're able to club these 3 in the most adequate portions, I think you will have the right energy to achieve everything that you're setting for yourself. So lack of sleep actually slows down our body's metabolism and it actually drains our energy. I think I've personally experienced this and I'm sure you guys would have too. While on the contrary, if you're doing any outdoor activities, it's sure to raise your energy bars. It's sure to make you feel more energized. It helps you improve your thinking. It's actually scientifically proven that, when you're playing outside, you get enough light. And I think light is very essential for your psyche. It helps improve the production of 2 very important happiness hormones, serotonin and dopamine. I'm not sure if you've heard that, about it before, but it's actually true. Do you remember in the last episode I told you guys that even a simple walk in the park can do more good than taking or drinking multiple cups of coffees or taking supplements? I think the natural way to stay happy is to make sure that you are doing enough outdoor activities, because that's one way to make sure that your body's metabolism rate is high and that you are active. That's what is going to keep you on high energy levels to make sure that you are able to achieve all your goals. Now tell me what eats up your energy. I'm going to discuss now the second part of this video, where we're going to talk about how to get rid of things that eat your energy up, that drain you of your, natural energy levels. So what is that one thing that actually makes you more tired? Think about it. So in the book, the author discusses that for her, some of the biggest energy guzzlers were the junk that was lying around her house. Also, the fact that it hits you from time to time, but the most important thing is it keeps distracting you. It keeps telling you that, hey, I'm right there. Doesn't that happen to you? I think personally for me, one of the most important things that drains me out completely, if my room is not tidy, junk lying here and there. So what did the author do? She actually gave away all of that stuff into charity. And I'm sure you should also do the same thing. If you have a junk lying around, here's a thought. Don't you think our mental junk, our extra thoughts are also something that we need to clear from our minds? Some of the most important unfinished tasks, something that we've been wanting to do and we've not done it yet, it actually stays in your mind. That's the mental junk that we need to clear so that we stay alive and stay more active. Even in the book, the author talks about the fact that, crossing off the tasks from her list, completing those tasks actually took very little energy. But while it was there just in her mind and unfinished, it was consuming more energy. It was constantly keeping her distracted. And I think it's very true. When you have things that you haven't finished, it robs you of your energy. So make sure that you go back after the video and finish all your pending tasks, and make sure that you are up to date and you can start afresh. I think it's actually more simple than we think. You create more energy and avoid all of the things that eat up your energy. When you feel more energy and you do the right things, you feel more happy. Once you feel more happy, you will do automatically the right things. And that in turn will make you feel even more happier. You see, it's a virtuous cycle. Tell me what really eats up your energies. Tell me what makes you feel more energetic. I would really like to know your, comments. I would like to know if you are able to figure out the areas where you need improvement. How do you work around your energy, and how you've been able to plan, the things that will make you more energetic. I would really like to know your stories. I would really like to work with you guys to make sure that, we work together on our individual happiness projects and, be more happier, if I could say. This is Sonali and this is the Happiness Company. Thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you guys in the next episode.